Right.
But I guess you can actually. Okay, I gotta take this real quick.
All right.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
All right, we got Tom Bogert with the latest hot tip coming in fresh off the hotline. Tom, please tell us, what did you just learn on that phone call?
About Charlotte.
No, nothing there, nothing from Charlotte. So nothing I can talk about yet. So sorry about that.
Charlotte. No, that's good, perfect, man. It plays into well with having you on and what all you do. Hey, let me ask a question real quick before we go back to the thing, because it works out well with what just happened. What advice would you give to someone successfully doing what you're doing in the sports media world? That because it's constantly changing. There's people like us out there who are not journalists, but we're still somewhat relevant. And then you, who's a professional journalist, and doing all the things you do and taking calls in between streams and everything. How do you do it all, or what advice would you give to someone that's young and trying to figure this whole thing out?
You gotta love it. You gotta be running through walls of no's, and now to be established where I am, it's having the motivation to continually be crazy, to continue checking your phone and checking on everything and answering everything. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. I need to get better at a work-life balance and having boundaries, but that's kind of where we're at.
So you're the Adam Schefter of MLS, basically, is what we're understanding?
Yeah, people have said that. I can't give myself that own nickname. I feel uncomfortable.
If we were out of DP slots, how would that Swiderski duo sort of affect us as a club?
Yeah, so it would just nothing in terms of on the field. It's just that they wouldn't be able to register Swiderski to the team to be able to play. And if the goal or idea was for him to be transferred anyway in the summer, the only real problem would be every team that Charlotte is talking to about a potential deal for Swiderski, those teams have the negotiating stance of, we know you need to get rid of him, and thus the price goes down. So, that's the only potential kind of background or backdrop of that. But on that, it's not like that they would have any penalty or whatever from MLS.
Right. Okay. All right. So I wasn't sure, right, if they had to just specifically keep one open for Swiderski or not.
But in practical terms, Swiderski is never coming back here.
His plan is to not but again, if Hellas Verona don't stay up and if they don't trigger the option, then technically he'll be a Charlotte FC player, the same way that Tati Castellanos was in the summer when his loan to Girona ended, and then a month later was when NYCFC sold him. He never came back to New York, right? But he was technically on the roster, or owned by the club.
So Swiderski never will physically be back in Charlotte.
Again, unless things go terribly, terribly wrong.
All right.
I think personally we need a winger, maybe a center back. I know Dino's asked for a left-footed center back, but I'm not sure how crucial that is. But those are definitely two places we sort of lack in coverage and sort of a decent enough player really to start, right?
Definitely an attacking midfielder, or at least an attacking player. Number 10, winger and center back, those are things that they're looking for. In terms of DPs, it'd be probably a 10 or a winger, depending on the profile, depending on the players. But they're in a really good spot. What they needed to do was have outgoings first to have room for the incomings. So particularly the Jóźwiak deal was so big to get that done. Yeah. It's a transfer. It's not a loan. Hey, it didn't work out. It's over. Good luck with your career, and we'll have good luck with ours. So that DP spot's open. No matter what, that means that Petkovic can be elevated to the first team, which is huge, which is something that couldn't happen last year. So that's a new signing into the team that needed to happen. And now with the two open DP spots, one can be a senior DP and one can be a young DP, and then they could add another U22 initiative player. So while it is slow, and particularly when you look at some other teams that had big overhauls, Colorado Rapids have acted, I think, quicker than any other team. They brought in 5 new starters and a new coach, and all of those players were here within the first days of preseason, if not before it. And Charlotte isn't there yet, but what's most important was that they needed those outgoings to happen first for the incomings to be even possible. So they're halfway through, and it's a really good start for me. I really like the Dean Smith hire. And again, they were able to get out of Jóźwiak and they were able to not just seal a deal for Swiderski, but when I was first hearing that it was a loan, I was like, oh no, that means that they won't have a DP spot open. So whatever they did with the math there to make sure that they could have a DP spot open, well done for there. Now it's about the incomings and getting the right signings.
What are you looking most forward to in the 2024 season? Because you're all over the place. You see the 30,000 foot point of view. What do you? I mean, or is it just nose of the grindstone? Seeing the forest through the trees. What are you looking forward to?
Oh, it's a great question. It's boring to say something about Miami. I feel like I'm almost contractually obliged to, but like I gotta know, man. Luis Suarez was one of my handful of favorite players growing up. Like I'm a Liverpool fan, so like I have awesome memories of Suarez. I'm really excited to see him in the league and kind of see what that team looks like. Columbus Crew were an absolute joy to watch last year. I can't wait to see how they evolve this year. The LA teams are both in different ways, reloading and revamping. Like there's a lot of different storylines that I'm super excited for, but like I think the most basic, and again, this isn't the most insightful answer, but just, you spend, for me, like spending all this time talking about these new signings, breaking new signings. Oh, what is this guy going to look like? All that, like, hell, this scouts tell me, oh, no, this player's really good. Or a GM from one team will be like, that guy sucks that other team bought. And then so just getting to see all of these things happen in real time, right? Like I've gone back, I forgot even what players it was, but like on news that I broke, and like the initial reaction is like, oh, who the hell is this guy? Like the player, or like, oh, this is an underwhelming signing, all that stuff. And then it turns into like a best 11 caliber player for whatever team. So like those are always fun to me of like, oh, I remember 2 years ago when that team, that scout told me about Cucho Hernandez, and like now he's one of the best players in the league. Like that's probably not a great example because that was a big signing when it happened, but you get the point, right?
Can we make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think that they're going to be in contention for the playoffs at least, like as it is right now. And again, assuming that they take another couple big swings with DPs, like I do really like Dean Smith. He's one of the coaches that I assume will get a facsimile of how he wants to play kind of pretty early. It's not something that's going to take months and months and months. It's more about, I guess, having the players and drilling it and going over and over and over again. So, look, they really desperately need a high-level number 10. Like, they need a high-level attacking signing at least. Like, that's going to key into a lot of what this team does because they have a lot of pieces that I like. Again, I'm still thinking that Copetti is going to be a good forward in this league. There's central midfielders on this team that I quite like. You kind of go down the list, like, but they need that like talismanic attacker, the chance creator. Like Kerwin Vargas, I like a lot as well. But if he's your best chance creator, you're the guy that you have to rely on every single week. I don't think that's a great spot for him. So a lot relies on who their biggest signing is. But again, that rings true of how many teams, right? Like what would New England be without Carlos Hill, or Nashville without Hani Mukhtar? It's like that kind of thing where it's like, yeah, it's going to rely a lot on one player, or my opinion of the team is going to rely a little bit on one player. But that's not abnormal across this league.
So top 7?
I mean, I'm thinking of them more like I definitely wouldn't say top 5. Absolutely not.
Right.
So, but I mean, like it'll be jumping. The Eastern Conference is really strong, so that's going to be playing against them this year. So I think that they're going to be more or less like fighting for the play-in or the like bottom half of the playoffs. And again, like as long as there's positive steps forward, like a foundation formed, like I feel like this is like what I would be saying about the team last year. As long as that we're seeing a long-term progress, like that'll be a successful year. But again, like that's what we have to say. That's what I have to say again. That's what I genuinely believe, that this is more of a long-term fix with Dean Smith, and it's about finding long-term solutions and not just short, quick fixes.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big reset for us this year, it seems like.
I was going to say, I hope it is long-term with as many coaches as we had so far. Yes, but hey, give us 3 years, Dean. Give us oh my God, 4. That's insane.
So where can people find you at, Tom?
Twitter, Tom Bogert, The Athletic, YouTube, all that crap, all that good stuff. You'll hear me making noise wherever I am, just yapping too much.
You heard it here first, folks. It's crap and it's good stuff. That's true about social media. But it wasn't crap today. It wasn't crap today. Thank you for your time, Tom.
Appreciate you. All right. Take care. See you.
Nice.